Hi there, welcome back to 3D Creations. Now, I know some of you have been feeling a little overwhelmed recently, so we're going to focus in on one small little project, making a nice warm cup of hot cocoa. So let's open up a new project and get to work. Now, the main base of this is obviously going to be a cylinder, so let's grab one of those. Now, for this tutorial, I really want you guys to focus in on these settings up here. These shape settings, most shapes have them, and they're really, really important for getting the exact thing that you're looking for. For example, the base of our hot cocoa mug isn't really this shape because we have all of these vertical planes, these rectangles going around. That's not what mugs look like. They're nice and smooth and rounded. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to take these sides, which is what these are. I'm going to take the slide setting and max it out. That way we have a bunch of smaller rectangles that are a lot harder to notice. Now, also, when it comes to mugs, we don't really like having a single hard edge. Otherwise, you might cut yourself or something. So I'm going to take this bevel. I'm going to make it around 1-ish. And then I'm going to increase the segments. It makes it just a little softer. Actually, 1 might be a little much. Let's go down to 0.5. There we go. It rounds that edge off just a little bit. Now then, we can grab another cylinder, except this time I'm going to grab the whole cylinder. Right above it, it's already set up to be a hole, and we can max out the sides once again. So we are also going to bevel this out and add segments because I'm going to squish it down just a little bit. I hold shift to do the whole thing. Oh, actually, we're going to squish it down. I'm going to hold shift and alt, move it in, and then push it up a little bit. Now we want just a little bit. So now what this will do is, because we have the bevel, it's going to give us a nice rounded bottom. And what we can do is when we cut this hole, we want to make sure it's moved up so it doesn't cut out the bottom of it. We can select both of these, group them, just as a test. There we go. And we have a nice inside of our mug. All right, now I don't want to group these just yet because I want to use the hole to do something else. Now, to add our handle, you could use the tube, but I don't like that because it gives us a hard edge on the inside of it, and that just can't be comfy to hold. So instead, I'm going to grab the ring, which has some really cool looking settings. Now I am going to manipulate these because it changes the way our ring looks. It changes that cross section. So I want one side to be really big and really wide. There we go. And I want to round out the inside of it too. Now the outside of it is a little bit bigger than the inside, has a harder curve to it, and that's just sort of to make it a comfy grip. Feel free to grab a mug from your kitchen if you have one and see if you can recreate it. Now I'm going to squish it down, move it over, move it up, maybe switch it down just a little bit more. Now I'm going to select everything and use the Align tool, make sure it's all matched up to one side. That way our handle is sitting in the center of the circle and not like off to one side, because that would be a very difficult mug to drink from. Alright, so this is why I didn't combine the mug before, because now what I can do is I can select everything and group it, and that internal cylinder, the circle, or the hole will cut off the inside of the handle as well. Now we can make it a nice color. We're going to go with a nice dark red for the color. And that's our basic mug. Now, to add the hot cocoa, we're going to grab one more cylinder. Alright, and I'm going to max out the sides once again. Move it up just a bit. Squish it down so it's not hanging out over the edge. Make it a nice brown. And that will give us our liquid. And then I want, personally, I like some marshmallows in my hot cocoa. So that can be made very similarly. Big bevel, whole bunch of segments. I'm going to max out the bevel. And the segments give us that nice marshmallow sort of look. Squish it down just a little bit. Make it white. And then we want to move it up. Now I'm going to hold shift and scale the whole thing way down. So it just looks like our little tiny mini marshmallows. Move it up. Plop it in our drink. And just sort of rotate it in a couple spots. Just make it look like it's floating sort of randomly. Oops. Copy and paste it. Give that new one a couple random rotations. Select both of them, copy and paste. And just sort of repeat this process a whole bunch of times till you have a satisfying amount of marshmallows. I've noticed that marshmallows really like to sit on their side. So make sure you add a couple of those that are almost on their side. If any of them look too similar, just mix it up. Maybe one more in this corner. I say corner, it's a circle. There we go. Looking like a nice cup of hot cocoa. Now it doesn't look that warm, so let's add some steam. Steam makes everything look tasty. So I'm going to take the scribble tool and I'm just going to make some nice wispy looking steam. Just something like that. Squish it down. And under the solid, the colors, there's this transparent. I want to click that, make it a gray, or you can make it white, either way. I'm going to flip it up, squish it down, move it to the top of the mug. That's pretty tall, so let's squish it down a little further. And I want to use these to sort of make sure it's all within the mug. Now, that looks good from like one angle, but to get it looking good from a whole bunch of angles, let's add another one. Try to start with a straight line as you go, and then make it squiggle as it goes down. Little squiggles floating above also are fine. That looks good to me. I'm going to squish it down. Same process. Make it transparent. Turn it gray. or white, either way is fine. Rotate 90, squish, move up, move into the hot cocoa. Now, we're going to rotate this one 90 degrees. Make sure it fits. And I'm also going to align the steam with the mug. There we go. And then I'm going to group the steam together. And we can also group the marshmallows, and the drink, and the mug. We can group all that together. Make sure to click, once it's done grouping, make sure to click on the mug and bring those colors back by clicking multicolored. And that gives us a nice steaming cup of hot cocoa. And that's going to be it for this tutorial. It's a nice simple one, just going over some of the basics and really fine-tuning those details of those settings. That's where I want you to dive deep, is make sure you manipulate those settings and get the cup that you want. So that's all we're going to do for this week is we have a nice, warm, steaming cup of hot cocoa that looks delicious. So hope you had fun. Have a great week.